there is a little bit of winter weather around in some places. Most important for us is in the interior areas of the Northeast, where we have winter weather advisories that are up for the potential for some freezing rain, and further north, maybe a little bit of sleet and snow. The advisories over the Great Lakes actually are all just about all done. And we also have some winter weather going on with various winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings up in the Northwest. But we have a January thaw coming, and that is front and center tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. Support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. How, you ask? Well, you can do it by doing your Amazon shopping and using our referral link to get you there, because when you do that, Amazon chucks us a few bits of silver, okay? If it's even silver anymore, which it's not. For sending you there, it doesn't cost you 1 extra cent, and it helps because if you do that, we don't have to run commercials during the live stream. So we appreciate very much those of you who have used our referral link on Amazon. And Tempest by Weatherflow. You can get the revolutionary Tempest weather system and join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. Rich Rothmansky, you actually read the pinned link. I love you. The link for this is pinned to the top of the chat board. It's also on the descriptor to this podcast. And I'm celebrating, and Joe Rayo is celebrating too, because there's a new coupon code.
Winter. Yes, no longer autumn, winter 2026.
And if you use that coupon code on whatever you buy, or just about whatever you buy from on the Tempest website, you will get.
Did you say something or you just got cut off?
I said, if you use that coupon code, you will get.
Oh, yes, 10% off. Same as last time, except new coupon code.
They had no idea the coupon code feature for was busted, where I could go in and change it. So they fixed it right away, and I was able to change it. I told him how furious Joe Rayo was. Just absolutely livid. Bobby Livingsworth starting off the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast by hitting the Super Chat tip jar. Thank you so much. It is going well. Thank you. Just a couple of minor notes, because apparently now Joe and I were talking off camera. Everybody's going to the dentist right now. For whatever reason, I'm going tomorrow morning. Joe, you're going when?
On Thursday at noon.
At Thursday. So tomorrow night we were supposed to have Adam Lucio of Storm Chaser Adam Lucio on as a guest, but he had some teeth issues and he has to go to the dentist for a root canal. So he wasn't sure whether he was going to be into it physically tomorrow evening. So I said, all right, well, we'll switch you. So now Adam is going to be on Thursday, and I'm waiting to find out if Dave Tolerus is going to switch his and come on Wednesday. But David, being such a busy man, he just has so much. He doesn't have a lot to do. He has not responded yet. So Adam is going to be Thursday, assuming that he doesn't have any complications from his root canal. Joe's having crowns put in, so that's easy. I'm having a cleaning done, so that should be without complication. So for now, that's the minor schedule change. So we'll see what happens if Dave comes on tomorrow. If not, he'll be on Thursday as well. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah. They had the winter weather advisories up north of Route 84, which I thought was fine, both in New York State and Connecticut. And then for some reason in Connecticut, they brought the winter weather advisories all the way down to the Connecticut coast, just about to I-95, so virtually right on the Connecticut coast. And I was just looking at the temperatures there. They're all in the mid to upper 30s. And it's not like the dew points are down somewhere in the teens or low 20s. The dew points are not that much lower. I just don't know whether I could kind of see it for the areas further to the north, but And I just was wondering why did they just put it up as a, you know, cover your tushy?
I have no idea. And the thing that gets me is that the advisory is for Putnam County, or Putnam County is one of the counties that's included, and 84, Interstate 84, cuts off a very narrow part of the northeastern corner of Putnam. Most of Putnam is south of 84, but
Right.
I guess they said, well, if that be the case, we'll just have to include the entire county and not necessarily the part that's north of 84. Anyway, there probably will be a little bit of icing. I wouldn't even doubt that you might see icing as far south as 287 in the lower Hudson Valley initially, but
But
it's not
even
going to
then,
last
Joe,
very
it's
long.
the temperatures are already 5 and 6 degrees above freezing in a lot of
Right.
places. I mean, where's it going to go? It's not like you got, all right. If like I said, if the dew points were down in the low 20s or something, or even in the mid 20s, I'll give you that. All right, then yeah, okay, you probably would get some dynamic cooling going on. And the other thing is, when you look at what's going on the radar, most of it's to the north. I mean, there's not that much go. I was looking at the observations. The only place that was reporting anything was Kennedy, JFK, and it was light rain. There was nothing
Right.
else, at least as of 7 o'clock Eastern time.
Well, CYA forecast, I guess.
Yeah,
That's all I could say.
yeah.
Just
All right.
they're just very careful and are concerned, I guess, that
Yeah, I
something
mean,
might
I'm not
be.
throwing, I'm not throwing apples and oranges at them. I'm just was kind of, I like to understand, what the logic is behind some of the stuff that gets done in the course of a day in the weather world. Not a whole lot happening tonight. We do have some warnings up in the Northwest, where we have the winter storm warnings up in the Cascades. I'll show it to you on the map, and there's also a few warnings up in a couple of counties in northern Idaho, surrounded by patchy areas of winter weather advisories down to Utah, and some high wind watches up in some counties in Montana and Wyoming, and a few wind advisories in a few counties in Washington and Oregon, and also some high wind watches in Southern California. But other than that, much of the rest of the country is kind of in a bit of a snooze fest, and it sort of makes sense with this let's call it a thaw pattern that is setting in for the next 4 days or so.
And weather-wise, today here in the home base here in Putnam Valley, we got to 41. And doing a little bit of checking, Joe, that was the warmest temperature that I had in the last 9 days. It goes back to Sunday, the 28th of December, when the temperature got to about 46. I think tomorrow will probably match today's 41. And on Thursday is going to be a delightful day. In fact, if I were still on television, I would call Thursday the potential pick of the week, with temperatures rising into the upper 40s under lots and lots of bright sunshine. Looks like it's going to be a very beautiful Thursday, leading us into a not so beautiful Friday and Saturday when the clouds return, and so will the precipitation. But the precipitation will be most likely rain because it'll be much too warm for ice or snow.
Yeah, and this is when you look at the satellite loop. I mean, it's just been this parade of weather systems, fast, relatively fast moving systems coming every couple of days. One offshore, another one, the one tonight in the eastern Great Lakes and moving eastward. There's not a whole lot of moisture with these systems here. The Gulf of Mexico is cut off, or the Gulf of America is cut off. The Atlantic Ocean, to a large extent, is cut off. There's enough there to produce maybe a little bit of ice and snow, well up into upstate New York, probably from I-90 northward, in terms of something of you know of semi consequence, extending into Vermont and New Hampshire and Maine. We've got some moisture streaming out of the Pacific, going right into the Pacific Northwest again, but it's nothing like the crazy atmospheric river that we saw. A little bit of subtropical moisture coming into the southwest, and some patchy cloudiness. It was a really cloudy. I've noticed it here in North Georgia, Joe. A lot of the times, and of course, it has to do with the mountains and the wind direction. Um, but you look at the satellite from this afternoon. If you didn't have to go too far south to get into at least some sunshine, or too far east, or to the northwest, moving up into Tennessee. But it just seems to me like where I am in North Georgia and in the southern Appalachians, we get these days like today where it just was overcast and it just stayed. The temperature actually made it up through the 50s, but it was just like one of those overcast, gloom and doom looking type days, as opposed to I think yesterday. Was it yesterday that we had sunshine pretty much all day long? I can't remember. I have my memory is like shot to hell. Anyway, welcome tonight to everybody on the chat board, and welcome to those of you who are lurking in the background on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. No schedule changes as far as the shows are concerned. We're not taking any time off this week. So subscribe to my YouTube channel, turn your notifications on so you don't miss us. And we've been doing pretty well with the likes, getting at least 100 likes on the live podcast. So if you like the show, hit the like button. I got the radar up right now, and this is sort of this east-west band of rain and heavier precip. There's some hefty precip going on north of Lake Erie on the Canada side. There's some pretty hefty looking echoes there, and also in and around Buffalo, where we've got something going on. Almost looks convective.
Well, the area that you just mentioned, that's probably close to Toronto in Ontario, and it'd be interesting to know what the Environment Canada forecast is for that section of Ontario. They may very well be mentioning spurts of, or bouts of possible heavy precipitation. I would assume. Well, I don't know that far north.
Well,
Maybe
right now in Toronto, it's 35 degrees. The relative humidity is 100%, and the wind is 8 miles per hour, though they don't say what direction it's coming from. And this includes Uxbridge, Beaverton, North Durham, Newmarket, Northern York, Pickering, Oshawa, Oshawa, Southern Durham region, Vaughan, Richmond Hill, also Collingwood, Hillsdale.
Well, here's the answer to my question about what the forecast is. And Joe, Toronto is under a yellow warning. A yellow warning. And that yellow warning means freezing rain for Toronto. Heavy here the forecast. This was issued as of 7:08 p.m. Heavy snow this evening. Reduced visibility and well, wait a minute now. You just said it's 35 degrees.
Yeah, it's 35 in Toronto, downtown Toronto, anyway.
Well, that's this forecast. They're saying yellow warning, freezing rain, and then when you read the special weather statement, it says heavy snow this evening, reduced visibility and heavy snow. Local snow amounts of 2 to 5 centimeters per hour are possible this evening. Then additional information: freezing rain transitions to a period of heavy snow. Roads and walkways will likely be difficult to navigate. Please continue to monitor alerts and forecasts issued by Environment Canada. Well, it looks like if you're in the Toronto area, you've got some form of wintry precipitation, be it in the form of snow or maybe freezing rain, but it ain't a picnic up there. As you just saw the radar, it looks like precipitation is coming down at a moderate level. Although, Joe, just to echo what you just said a few moments ago, current conditions in Toronto at Pearson International Airport: light rain, falling pressure, temperature 0.6 Celsius, literally just above the freezing mark, and the wind is out of the east-northeast at 14 kilometers per hour. So
yeah, Buffalo right now, because there's a little convective action going on near there, is reporting light rain and fog and a temperature of 38. I mean, you really have to go up. Let me go up into north central New York. Just go check Watertown here. It's raining in Watertown. So even what you see in north central New York is mostly rain. 34 there. And they were going for They have a winter weather advisory up for rain, possibly mixed with snow, becoming all snow after 5 a.m. So I guess they're waiting for the low to go by, and then the rain will change back to snow sometime later on tonight or tomorrow morning. And you can see this precip, by the way, goes back across Michigan and into northeastern Wisconsin. Meanwhile, we do have some rain in the Pacific Northwest with some heavier rain in northwest Oregon and a little bit of snow action going on the other side in eastern Washington and in northern Idaho, also in southwest Idaho, a little bit of snow there and a little bit of patchy snow there in south central Montana. The WPC folks, this is through next Tuesday night. Excuse me, forecasting 3/4 of an inch to an inch of liquid. Some places it will be some liquid, some frozen, but certainly downstate in New York and southern New England and point south, it's all rain. So we're looking at 3/4 of an inch to an inch and a quarter. And then you get into the central and southern Appalachians and back down into into northern Alabama and Mississippi, and you've got an area of 2 to even 2.5 inches of liquid being indicated. It hasn't really rained very much here in the deep south in the last 3 or 4 weeks. We have moisture in the southwest gathering 1/2 to 3/4 in southern Arizona. We have some heavier moisture in the Pacific Northwest and in the northern Rockies, and also from the Great Lakes southwestward down into Kansas. And I haven't checked SPC in a while. They got okay. So for tomorrow, we have a marginal risk of severe weather in parts of north central Texas into central Oklahoma. That's not, I'm sorry, this is for Wednesday into Thursday. Okay, because there's no severe weather being indicated tonight, but Wednesday into Thursday. Day 3 is a larger area of marginal risk, northeast Texas, Arkansas, northwest Louisiana, eastern Oklahoma, southeast Kansas, half of Missouri, southern Illinois, westernmost Kentucky, and westernmost Tennessee. And they have something on day 4, so they have an implied potential slight risk zone on day 4 from western Tennessee southward back through Mississippi and into Louisiana and southeastern Arkansas. So SPC, you get if you get into a thaw pattern and pull away a lot of the cold air, it tends to get a little more convective down in parts of the south.
Well, we were talking about the duration of the mild weather, and we were talking last night about how it looked like that it would be breaking down and we'd be going back to a much colder weather pattern by the start of next week. But I noticed that the folks over at the Climate Prediction Center, Joe, continue to have us above normal probability for above normal temperatures right through the 6 to 10 and the 8 to 14 day outlook. So they're not looking really at any significant change back to colder weather. In fact, they're looking at, again, temperatures that may be averaging a bit above normal for the next 2 weeks.
They're not batting 1,000 these days, though, are they?
Now.
Just putting it out there.
Yeah, all
You
right.
know, they're not batting 1,000, lately. Anyhow, I was just taking a look. I was looking at the polar vortex for the next couple of weeks, and all winter long, it's been a series of stretches where the polar vortex, uh, elongates and stretches through. We had one such stretch this past weekend that pulls out, but it's still kind of ebbing and flowing, and then it looks like it may want to start stretching again in the longer range. Kind of gets anchored itself over northern Greenland, which is sort of interesting. And you got this colder flow, potentially that colder flow. And when you look at the shorter range models, you do see when you look out to you look out there, you do see some semblance of a cold polar flow. Uh, this 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 Alaskan trough this week is going to break down, and eventually we do go to ridging in the west, and uh, eventually we go to troughing in the east next week. Uh, it's not a shabby looking trough, not the sharpest tool trough in the shed, but I've seen ones that are a lot flatter. But a lot of energy here going on with this rotating vortex that forms in over Hudson Bay, and some energy that's going to be swinging around it next week. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of that. And where it goes beyond that, I couldn't begin to tell you. Pressures, up in the Arctic region are going to continue to remain higher than normal, which would argue that cold air should be displaced south. I just think that at least, and then when you look at the ensembles, they're sort of kind of in this, they're all in that same ballpark. At the very least, I think we at least return back to, at least near average temperatures. And in fact, on the European weeklies, if we go to, so obviously this week, it's above normal. This is through, this is actually next week, the 12th to the 19th. But the heavier above normal is further to the west. And again, it doesn't tell you it's 7 days. So you don't know if it's the front end or the back end or all 7 days. And then the 19th to the 26th, Joe, this is what the European weeklies are showing, which is a pretty good swath of the United States, except for the Gulf Coast, which is above normal. Everybody else is normal. And then you go north of, say, 35, get up to about 35 degrees north and go north of there. The northern half of the U.S. is all below normal. So there's that. Um, well, we'll see. It's the 6th. 14 days takes you out to the 20th. This map is from January 19th to January 26th. And as far as coastal storms, Mr. Contino, you're asking, we haven't really seen many of those, have we? And I don't know that this pattern is really the kind of pattern that would be supportive of coastal storms riding up the seaboard, because we keep seeing these, this sort of Pacific split flow. You got the northern stream, which has been really busy. You've got the southern stream, which occasionally has been shooting out stuff, but most of it wants to go out to the east. Now, if you get a nice sharp trough, like the GFS is trying to do maybe for the latter part of next week, you might be able to pull something off. But other than that, it's it's going to be pretty hard to get something to climb up the eastern seaboard, particularly because out in the Atlantic, Joe, it's like it's pretty much like a ruler out there.
Yeah, it's a very significant zonal flow, which does not show or does not owe itself to sending storms, as you just mentioned, up along the Atlantic seaboard. You'd like to see a nice trough being carved out near or around the Atlantic seaboard for any kind of a system to indeed roll up the eastern seaboard or nor'easter, but it does not look like that's going to be happening, and not at least in the foreseeable future.
No, I don't think it's the right kind of pattern. When you got the Atlantic looking like that, where it's just this basically fast west to east flow, it's like the fire hose, only it's going from the across the Atlantic toward Europe. If you don't have any storms out there, there's no reason for any kind of system that moves off the southeast coast to turn northward. You need to have storms out there, and this has been an ongoing problem for the last several years out in the Atlantic,
Right.
where there haven't been a lot of Atlantic storm systems that would force, anything that's in the southeast, for example, to climb up the eastern seaboard. So until that changes, I would say, the odds of getting any kind of a nor'easter is probably very, very low. A lot of things have to come together in a perfect way, in an almost perfect way, and it's far from it from what we're seeing. So let's. I'm going to switch to the European model because I like the European model, and the European tonight. Uh, this this first map that's up there is actually from 1 p.m. So this is the 7 p.m. map now, 7 p.m., 10 p.m. And then, of course, everything starts to pull away tomorrow morning. And we'll should start to see some sky conditions improving as we go through the day. But Thursday, as you said, probably the pick of the week in the east, with high pressure centered, right over West Virginia and Virginia. A northwest wind and sunshine. I would think we should be able to make it upper 40s and low 50s. And the further south you go in New Jersey, maybe even middle and upper 50s. Friday, maybe pushing it up a little bit higher. Here comes the first wave to the Great Lakes coming out of Oklahoma. You're seeing some snow there in parts of Colorado and New Mexico. Rain and some thunderstorms moving into Kansas and Missouri. And they just had a blizzard not too many days ago in the Great Lakes. Well, now they're going to get mostly rain with this first low that goes by, just a very narrow band of snow on the northwest side. We get into some of that probably Friday night. That front stalls, and then we get a second wave that comes out of Texas, and that moves up to northeast Ohio with a warm front coming back up northward. The cold front from Friday night becomes a warm front on Saturday, so more rain there. Front goes through late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, and here comes a shot of cold air for later Sunday and Monday. And beyond that, as we look at the earlier European, which goes out a bit further, you're going to notice that there's another front and another low dropping down into the lakes on Wednesday, and with that, another cold front and another shot of cold air. And this is where, although the troughing that you see in the east, where the models start trying to form something offshore and then taking it out. Again, the trough's got to drop in the right position in the Ohio Valley and sharpen up or go negative tilt for something of consequence to happen. And right now, it just appears to be a bit of a long shot. And then there's more cold air as we head toward the weekend of the 18th and 19th. I find it hard to believe, looking at this European, Joe, that they're going for above normal temperatures. How far out to the 20th?
On the 8 to 14 day outlook. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, so you've got a 510 thickness that runs down into the Ohio Valley next Monday and Tuesday, and you're going to go above normal temperatures. I don't know. That just seems like a bit of a stretch to me.
Well, it's not. Let me just say that it covers really a relatively small region of the northeastern United States, including the New York metropolitan area that's above normal. And then you go back south and west.
Well, why don't you show the studio audience the map?
Well, if you want to give me the sharing thing. Huh?
I did.
All right. Well, then
I'm not the sort of person that's selfish and keeps the screen all to himself, Joe. I always share. Let me put you on. Let me put it up on the screen here too. That would help. Okay.
All right, so let me show you first the 6 to 10 day outlook. And if you look at the 6 to 10 day, wow, look at that. I mean, most of the United States is in above normal territory. The only place
from the 12th through the 16th. Okay.
Right.
All right. So let me just see something here. So Monday is the 12th. I would say probably Monday. Okay, Monday.
Well, all of next week. Monday the 12th through Friday the 16th.
The 16th is next Friday. I guess if you want to average out those 4 days, the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10 days, maybe it works out to being a little bit above normal. Because there are going to be some colder days in the mix there. Not like what we've experienced, but at least bringing temperatures back down to near normal. So, okay, I'll buy that. I'll buy it with the idea of above normal, but only slightly, because when you average it all out.
Okay, New York is right on the line between 50 to 60 and 60 to 70% above normal. The 50 to 60 is leaning above normal, and 60 to 70 is likely above normal. Actually, 50 to 60 is also likely above normal. So that's what they're thinking of for the 6 to 10 day outlook. And then if you go to the 8 to 14 day outlook, you could see what I'm talking about. The Northeast, just the Northeast, and not even the entire Northeast, is still above normal, but really leaning above normal in eastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, central and eastern New York, and New England, except a little bit higher, more like 40 to 50% above normal probability across the state of Maine. Then you go south and west, and most of the Ohio and Great Lakes area, Ohio Valley, down through the Tennessee and the Mississippi Valley, near normal temperatures. And then you go back to the uh, above normal pattern for the nation's midsection and all points west, and especially so over the California and desert Southwest, where there it is 1, 2, 3. It's 50, 60% above normal. So it's not overwhelming in terms of, probabilities of above normal temperatures, but still, on this particular map, the 8 to 14 day outlook, not a single part of the country, if you exclude, talk about the contiguous United States, not a single area is below normal. It's either near normal or above normal.
All right. Well, you know what? Only time will tell, Joe.
Yes.
Only time will tell. High Point, New
I'm
Jersey.
only promoting this because that's the division, the Climate Prediction Center. That is the division of NOAA where everybody who works there are, quote, experts in foretelling or forecasting long range weather. And so those are the people who are saying that we're looking for milder conditions over the next 2 weeks.
Today, on the anniversary of the '96 blizzard, Joe Rayo, the National Weather Service Eastern Region / Mount Holly office reinvestigated snow totals and reported today that High Point, New Jersey, now holds the all-time state record for the most snow in a season, 122 inches.
Wow.
I just want to know why it took them 30. I mean, didn't they have that number back in '96? I mean, I don't know. Maybe they didn't, or maybe they compiled the numbers over the years because we have far more observing stations now than we've ever had. Certainly far more than what we had in '96. But I'm just wondering why it took them 30 years to figure out that High Point now holds a state high total. Although I don't know, does anybody actually live in High Point, or isn't it like in a state park or something?
Yes, High Point State Park. And I've been to High Point State Park a couple of times, and they used to have some sort of a field house, a large house where you can actually, sleep, rent a room or two. I believe somebody told me that house no longer exists, but they do have right at the quote high point of New Jersey. They have what looks like an obelisk, something that looks like the Jones Beach Water Tower or the Washington Monument, which marks the high point of New Jersey, which I believe is something like 1,800 feet above sea level.
Okay. And by the way, also on the note of the anniversary, I'm gonna see if I can put this up. So this is from Dave Tolerus, and he was. This is Joey. This is really funny. So, I'm going to put this up here. This is a map from the blizzard of '96 with snow amounts in Virginia and back over into Western Virginia and kind of peering into West Virginia. Now, you'll notice that the 12 to 18 inch area, which is in that purple, covers a good portion of Eastern and Central Virginia, except there is a circle of 11 inches or less where Richmond is. And he always, there's always sort of this question. He says, so he puts this map up and he says, 30th anniversary of the blizzard of '96, a deeply flawed and clearly inaccurate snow map. In particular, the snow map around Richmond Metro is obviously absurd, and I have enlarged the image to show why it is absurd. Note every location in and around Richmond Airport for 35 or 40 miles in every direction reported from 14 to 17 inches of snow. Even locations as far east as West Point, Virginia, reported significantly more snow than the airport. Interestingly, one of the areas in and around Richmond Metro area that historically or climatologically often reports the least amount of snow, Chester, Virginia, came in with over 14 inches, and so on. So it turns out, and I had to laugh at this, Joe. He says, several years later, in the winter of 2009-10, after many years of complaints, meteorologists from Wakefield and those associated with the Central Virginia chapter of the AMS finally investigated how these are Dave's words, not mine, morons at the Richmond airport measured snowfall. It was discovered that the folks at Richmond Airport had the snowboard just outside the door and underneath a tree. So they practically were measuring the snow under an awning as far as the snowfall is concerned. So, are you with me? By the way,
I'm still here.
Okay. So I wrote back. I put a comment up there, and I said, "Why would anyone put a snowboard under a tree is beyond me. That's almost as bad as NWS NYC, who for years measured snow on the tops of cars in Rockefeller Center, so they didn't have to walk to Central Park. That's why New York City only measured a foot of snow in the blizzard of '78, when everyone else got 18 inches or more." I mean, come on, Joe. Who puts a snowboard under a tree?
I have no clue.
Really? Anyway, I just found I thought that was hilarious. I mean, did it at least occur to somebody? Did it occur to anybody to think, maybe it's too close to the building. Maybe it's underneath a tree is going to cause the amounts to be lower than what they otherwise would be. No, it's perfectly fine under the tree. Put it under the tree. Oh Lord. Let's do
Before we get into Briller Jeopardy, two things. Number one, and I posted this on Facebook, is the fact that the current administration has announced plans to break up the National Center for Atmospheric Research. And this is, my mind is like spinning, trying to figure out why. I mean, these people are nuts. I mean, the National Center for Atmospheric Research, or as it's better known, NCAR, developed the GPS dropsonde, which revolutionized the understanding of structure of the upper atmosphere, improved forecasts, validated remote sensing platforms, as documented in over 400 peer-reviewed publications over the last quarter century. And that's just one of the countless advances that this particular division of NOAA, NCAR, has done. And now they have announced that they're going to dismantle the National Science Foundation-funded National Center for Atmospheric Research. Why? I have absolutely no clue why they would want to do something like that, but they're going to do it. So another part of NOAA goes bye-bye. The other thing is, and I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but 1 month from today, Joe, we may be headed back to the moon. NASA has been planning for a very long time, and it looks like they're going to have a historic Artemis 2 launch 1 month from today on February the 6th, where they will have not one, not two, not three, but 4 astronauts on a launch to go around the moon. The first time that we have gone back to the moon since Apollo 17 in 1972. We will not be landing on the moon, but we are going to take the first steps toward getting back to the moon by launching a space vehicle up out of the atmosphere and around the moon. It won't even orbit the moon as the other Apollos did. It's just going to go. It's going to circumnavigate around the backside of the moon, come around the moon, and come right back to the Earth. So we may be headed back to the moon. A little piece of history and maybe excitement like we used to see back in the 70s and the late 60s. That's coming our way again, we think, 1 month from today. Tentatively scheduled. Launch is tentatively scheduled for February the 6th.
All right. Well, very good. All right, so let's get to Briller Jeopardy. By the way, Scott Briller hit the tip jar last night, and I forgot to say thanks. So thank you, Scott. Um, okay, so we've got the average snowfall for the following 5 cities for the month of January, Joe. Average monthly snowfall for the following
Okay.
5 cities. And we shall begin tonight. We shall begin with Atlantic City.
Frantic City.
Um, Frantic City.
Yeah. How about for Atlantic City? That was 6 inches.
I'm sorry, you said how many inches?
6.
6. Uh, no, that is incorrect. 6 inches is not correct for Atlantic City. Um, it's but Mr. TRWS, Mr. Thunderstorms, got it 4 inches for Atlantic City. Baltimore is next. Baltimore.
Baltimore. Okay. Hang on for a second. So you said it was 4 inches and not 6 inches
For Atlantic City.
for Atlantic City.
Right.
Okay. So what would I say for Baltimore? I would say, uh, gee, 3 inches.
No. Conroy Jet got it though. 6.
Wait a minute. I said 6 for Atlantic City, and it turned out to be 4.
Right. And you
I
said
said 3 for
3 for
Baltimore, and
Baltimore
it turned
turned
out
out to
and
be
that turned out to be
6.
6
Okay. Anyway, Boston.
anyway. For
Boston.
Boston, Boston, 9.
No, 9 is too low. But Tyler Fenga and Timothy Veltman, who's on the chat board tonight, where it's still snowing up in Saratoga, 14, Joe. 14 for Boston.
Really?
Yeah, Patrick
I'm
Darcy
amazed that
also
they have.
getting it
I'm
14.
amazed they get that much.
No, the number, the 30-year average numbers went way up this year. So,
Right, and they had 1 year where they had 102, I think,
right.
right?
So,
Right.
exactly.
It's
Um, next on the list is Buffalo.
far. Buffalo, Buffalo. Well, why don't we go for something crazy? I think. How about 40?
No, Joe, that's actually a bit too, more than a bit too high. However, Timothy Veltman was on a hot streak tonight, and we'll give honorable mentions to Conroy Jet and Carol DeCara for their guesses of 26 and 25 respectively, but 27 for Buffalo is the monthly average, which means it could be as high as 40 or it could be as low as 14, as you said 40. Um,
Yes,
so the next one is, speaking of 40, I think I heard that Chicago's already had 40 inches for the whole winter season so far.
that amazing.
Yeah, Chicago.
Ah, how about 10?
10, well, you were correct in going for double digits, but you were not correct enough. You needed to go higher, like Patrick Darcy did at 13, Joe, 13. And Frank R gets an honorable mention at 12, and so does Lou Arizio at 12. And finally, for a little bit of bonus, Nantucket.
Now, what did we say for Boston?
14.
I'm going to say for Nantucket. I'm. Let's see. So Atlantic City at 6. Boston's 14. I'll say 10.
Well, you used very good logic to get you there. And it needed to be fine-tuned a little bit more. Frank R., Rich Rothmansky, Frank Scalera all got it with 8. 8. Speaking of
Okay.
8, speaking of 8, did we get 100 likes yet or no?
We're at 94 right now.
Ooh, so we only need 6. Take us over 100, folks. And trying to think. Okay, so just a reminder again. So we were supposed to have Adam Lucio on tomorrow, but everybody's going. Joe and I. Joe's going to the dentist. I'm going to the dentist, and Adam now has to go to the dentist because he's got something going on. He's got to have a root canal. So he's tentatively been moved to Thursday. Dave Tolerus is supposed to come on Thursday. I messaged him to see if we can get him on tomorrow. All right. So if I can't get him tomorrow, thank you. If I can't get him tomorrow, then they'll both be on together on Thursday. So that will be a lot of fun. So on that note, we shall say good night. Correct?
Yes, I guess we will.
Okay, got nothing to add.
No, my dental appointment is Thursday at noon, and that's going to be the first of two. I'm
Okay,
having two crowns put in, so I'm going to be crowned once on Thursday, and I'll probably be crowned a second time sometime early in February.
well, that's enchanting. Um, by the way, that is JJ on the bed. JJ, are you sleeping? You know, there are so many things that my dog does that I really wish I could talk. He would be able to talk for 5 minutes just to explain these things to me. Like, how does he know to come into the room when I'm doing the show and he's there on he laid and slept through the whole thing. Okay. Now I mean I know we're a cure for insomnia, but you know, nothing. He's so quiet and good. He knows to be quiet and good, and I don't get it.
Now,
I don't.
yesterday, after the show yesterday, you said something to him, and his tail was like wagging like
Oh,
crazy.
let me see. Hold on. Hey JJ, you daddy's little boy? I startled him. Are you daddy's big boy? There he goes. See, Joe? He's doing the tail thing. You daddy's big boy? Yeah. Did you go seepies? There he is. See? He's bobbing his tail. You want to go back to sleep? You can go seepies. Go seepies. You know, I mean, I could have any other time there's any outside noise and he's just like, investigating. But while we were doing the show, he doesn't make a sound. Um, I don't get it, but one day maybe somebody will. Maybe when I die, uh, I'll get to see my dogs and they'll be able to talk to me. We'll see. Okay, he is a good companion, Tom. He's the best dog. I mean, he really is a great dog. Um,
Now, does
now,
he sleep with you at night, or?
no, that's the other thing. So at night, if I when I get into bed, okay, so he's where he is now. When I get into bed, he'll move to the other side. As long as I'm laying on my back, like if I'm reading or something, he'll stay there. But the minute I turn the light off and roll over to get up because I like to sleep on my stomach, he gets off the bed. He will not sleep with me.
Oh,
And yet, when I left him with a friend of mine a few weeks ago, when I had to go to Chattanooga for the weekend, when I left him with a friend of mine, um, he slept on the bed with them, with him and his wife. So I don't know. I've never thrown him off the bed. During the day, if I go lay down on the bed, he'll come and snuggle me and nudge me, and give me kisses and get all lovey dovey. But at night, he just does not want to. He doesn't want to stay on the bed. Only if it's real, if it's a really, really, really cold night, like if it's down in the single digits here, which hasn't happened this winter, but so far. But if when I've had some really, really cold nights, then he gets into the bed and I know he's there. If I wake up in the middle of the night, he's lying against my side trying to stay warm. I suppose. But uh, he's a rescue. He's 6 years old. I did the math wrong. I found out he was a year younger than I thought he was when we took him to the vet, and um, I mean, he's just been an absolutely amazing dog. Just amazing. Anyway, uh, we'll see you tomorrow.
I'll be here.
All right, everybody. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow, and that's it. Bye bye.
Good night, folks.